you're listening, like, do you find yourself being somebody that likes to reminisce on the past and things like that?
Yeah.
Or like, do you only look to the future?
And I married someone who likes the past, and you married someone who likes the future. Welcome to Life Unleashed,
the podcast all about creating the best life for you and your furry best friend.
If you're a dog mom on the go, juggling life, work, and the endless joys of being a dog parent, then you're in the right place. I'm Dani.
And I'm Nick.
And together with the incredible dog mom community from Tails Up Pup, we're here to share advice, stories, and the obsession we have over the love for our dogs.
Get ready to laugh, learn, and lean on each other because life with your dog just got even more awesome.
2024 is coming to an end. We are about to approach a new year. 2025 sounds so futuristic, doesn't it?
It literally does. It feels like we should be like in flying cars.
I feel like someone recently was telling me like they were reading a book that was like 2025 and it was things that were nowhere near, like, you know, flying cars and crazy things.
What's I think more strange is, doesn't 2015 feel like it was not that long ago?
Yeah. How was that 10 years ago?
10 years ago.
Yeah. I can't, like, it feels like I was in high school not that long ago. And it's like every year it gets further and further away. It's crazy. Like, I'm getting old.
We are getting old.
We are officially 30. So I think that puts our old hats on.
I'm going to be 31 soon.
It actually drives me nuts sometimes when people still are like, when I was in high school, I accomplished all these things. And I'm like, come on, that was so long ago now. Like, you know, you can't keep bragging about your past. That's too far away.
You Danielle is not one to look back at the past.
Nick's like, you know, my senior year, I ran this in my cross country meet. And I'm like, okay, do it now. Like, that was long enough ago that you do not get to still brag about that accomplishment.
Maybe this is not going to be the podcast for you. You're like, you know what? No reason to look back at 2024, onward to 2025.
Yeah, I'm more of a future planner. I'm a planner. I love talking about the future, the goals, all those things. But I put Nick in charge of coming up with 2 podcast ideas, and this was his. So we will chug along and we will reflect on 2024. And I think it is important to reflect because you got to remember all the things you did accomplish in that year, not 10 years ago though.
Yeah, I wonder if there's like different personality types. Like if you're listening, like, do you find yourself being somebody that likes to reminisce on the past and things like that?
Yeah.
Or like, do you only look to the future?
And I married someone who likes the past, and you married someone who likes the future.
You know, shouldn't we all be striving to live in the present?
Yes.
Okay, so I wrote down some questions for this.
Ooh, he came prepared.
I did. Okay, so Dani, what do you have? Any top 3 moments from 2024? I didn't want to just ask one. Give me your top 3 because I definitely know what number 1 would be, or at least I think I do.
Obviously, having a baby is number 1. We love him so much, and he is now 4 months old, which is wild.
He is literally growing up so fast.
I feel like pregnancy consumed all of 2024, so I didn't do that many fun other things. So I'll have to think about it.
Yeah, it can be personal, it can be business, it can be whatever you want. But yeah.
Oh, well, the crazy thing, we moved. That, I think I might have peeped one of your questions. That was something unexpected.
You spied on my questions?
Did I see that question? Something unexpected or something like that? It was not planned for us to move in 2024, and we moved. We're like, we are now going to have a baby. We found out in December of 2023. So very quick into 2024, we started planning our future for our child, and we had our business in a building. Ensley was about to give birth, and we were like, okay, what are we going to do? We need to pivot. We cannot imagine juggling everything. And so that's when I was like, Nick, let's look into buying a bigger house and moving the business back into our house, because think logistically how well that would flow. And we are so glad we did it.
We first looked at putting an addition on our other house.
Yes, we did. And if you watched our videos from the beginning, our basement was very grungy. There was like one window and the ceilings were low. We made it work, you know.
It was unfinished.
It was fine.
Half crawl space, half like really low ceiling basement.
Yeah. And so I was like, that's not going to cut it anymore. Our business is too big for that basement and it's just not the vibe. I would be depressed down there. Like, I need sunshine, rainbows, butterflies, all those things to make me happy. And that basement was not it. So we did look into putting an addition on, but still it just wasn't going to cut it. And it was going to be so expensive. We absolutely loved our house. We lived close to town and we just lived in it wasn't a neighborhood. It was just like a bunch of roads and kids were over there and it just seemed like a nice place to be, but it just wasn't the place for us anymore. So I said, let's just look. We don't need to commit to anything. Let's just look at our options. And we found lots of houses that we were interested in and we saw lots of houses that we were not interested in. And then we found the perfect house and we could not get in contact with the owner. And we had landlord, our real estate agent. We were like, can you please hound them? Like, this is our house. And we found out it was because they were just coming out of the holiday season. They wanted to replace the stairs in the back. And they also were finishing up one of the walls in the basement. So they were still making their improvements when they had listed the house. So they weren't quite ready yet. And so finally we get in contact and they were like, you can come on this date. We went. Wasn't it an open house?
Yeah, it was an open house. We showed up and
we showed up right on the dot. We showed up early and the street was filled with cars. And I was like, oh my gosh, all these people need to go home. This open house is closed. This is my house. And I was hearing people and they were like, we love it. We're
going to make an offer.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is tragic. We waited weeks to finally get into this house. And now all these other people were in the same boat. But have no fear. God was on our side.
Yes, he was.
And we won. And so, we were so excited. We obviously are in the house now. This is her. We love her so much. She moved us further away from town where all the restaurants are and everything and all of our people that we knew. But it was 10 on 10 perfect. We love this house so much. We love our new community and we love our neighborhood. It's so quiet and we have the best neighbor. She brings us food and we love her so much.
We're in a cul-de-sac.
Yep. We sing a song about the cul-de-sac to Callan. I make up lots of songs. If you don't know that about me, I make up lots of songs.
Okay, so birth and moving.
Did anything else happen? I feel like just having my mom come here, that was a highlight because she came when Callan was born, but my mom hasn't been that many times. That was her first time to this house. Was it? No, she came for the shower. But she lives in Pennsylvania, so she just doesn't come down here that often. She's still working and, we don't go there that often either. We go there usually once or twice a year, and she tries to come here once a year. And so that was really fun, specifically when she came. Oh, also my brother surprised us for the baby shower. That was also
very well executed because we had zero idea until he was at our front. It was like someone was knocking on our front door and we're like, who's here?
I'll just tell the story quick. It probably won't end up being quick, but my mom was here and I was very pregnant and I was like, let's eat lunch. And she's like, well, why don't we do this? We were going to build the bassinet. Why don't we build the bassinet first? I'm like, Mom, I'm pregnant and I'm starving. Why would I wait? I'm eating lunch. And she's like, okay. And then in her head, she's coming up with a plan. She's like, okay, actually I want 2 sandwiches. And I'm like, Mom, why? My mom eats almonds.
Eats like a bird.
You do not want 2 sandwiches. But she was making this whole big deal. And what am I going to tell her that she's not hungry? I don't know if she's hungry or not.
Yeah. And she literally is like, Nick, I do want to. I'm like, okay, I'll make you 2.
So she makes this whole big deal. So she gets 2 sandwiches. Then we're eating. And then she said she's full.
She eats the one and she goes, actually, I'm full. Let's just wrap it up and save it.
In hindsight, this story is so funny. In the moment, I was like, what the freak is wrong with my mom? So she's like, I'm full. I'm just going to wrap up the second sandwich.
I'm like, you literally begged me to make you that second sandwich.
And she's like, sometimes we make mistakes. She's like, I'll eat it later. And so she wraps up the sandwich and puts it in the fridge. Then we go to build the bassinet and someone knocked on the door. And I'm like, I guess the mailman's here, Mom. Hold on a second. So I run to the door. I don't see anyone. I open the door and then he popped out from the side. And I was like, what are you doing here? And he was like, surprise. And I was literally so shocked. I didn't even know what to say or do. And then he was like, I'm starving. I wanted that sandwich. And I was like, oh my gosh, this all makes sense. It was very funny. And my mom had a scheme to get him a sandwich. The reason she did that was she was afraid we weren't going to have enough lunch meat left. And so it was a whole big thing. But very funny story. 10 out of 10. That was a great memory as well.
Yeah, very surprised. Are there any other honorable mentions for the best things that happened in 2024?
We didn't go on any trips. We went to Pennsylvania for the shower.
I do feel like it was definitely a different year because of like the pregnancy and like having Callan. It was maybe a slower. I feel like we didn't do as much.
Yeah, we didn't do as much. So not that I can think of off the top of my head.
Except to move and have a baby.
Yeah.
We did a lot of things, just not stuff that we normally do.
What? Okay, I won't have you tell me your top 3, but you can tell me your top 1.
Of course, having Callan.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean.
That's why I'm not going to ask you, because you're just
Yeah.
going to have the same answers as me because you're a copycat.
I'm a copycat.
I'm just kidding. We just live the same life.
This is my podcast, Danny, and therefore it is my questions.
Okay.
Okay, now I obviously need to know, what are your top 3 worst experiences of 2024?
Obviously, giving birth. Very tragic, traumatic. A lot of things went wrong, but he was alive and I was alive. So
It was a win.
It could be worse, but it was very traumatic. Obviously, if you didn't listen to our birth story, there's a whole podcast on that. So I won't go into all those details. But yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, that was difficult. I mean, I literally didn't have to, besides emotionally, go through anything. Like you were very like an impressive person, super woman for sure.
Number 2, being wrong, because I thought Callum was a girl the whole time, and boom, he was a boy. Now it's a great thing and it's not worse, but Nick will always say he was right. I was wrong. Basically, everyone was wrong though. Everyone thought he was a girl, and it was so fun. Everyone keeps asking, like, will you do it again? I don't know, but it was so fun to wait 9 months and then boom, have a surprise. So I would recommend it. If you are thinking about it, you should definitely do it. There's nothing like it in life.
Gosh, that was literally the coolest, best. Even like having gone through all the, ups and downs of like that delivery, that was still like such an amazing, cool moment. Seeing like, it's a boy.
And probably the third worst thing was the first trimester of pregnancy, because I was so nauseous. I felt bad all the time. The whole entire pregnancy, I never felt like myself. And I don't know. People are like, do you miss it? Like, no, I don't know how someone would miss it. It was special and cool, but I don't find joy in being pregnant.
Yeah, it could have been worse for you. Like there's plenty of people that that have had like really bad times, but it definitely was not a pleasant experience for you. And it's like nothing I can do, nothing you could do even. It's just like, this is what your body's going to feel this way for a while.
Overall, I don't think anything that tragic happened though. So
it doesn't have to be tragic. It could be something that was like, yeah, this was.
I was trying to think of a funny story where something went bad, but I can't really think of anything.
Okay, your sneak peek that you already had. What are some unexpected things that happened in 2024?
Callum being a boy.
I guess you could say moving was somewhat unexpected. That kind of like trails into the 2023, so I don't know if that counts.
No, I already said that. I said that was unexpected.
Yeah.
I need something new and exciting. Let me think in my brain archives. It's a very random story. Something unexpected. The day that we moved in, there was a rat in our house. Oh,
that is true.
Yeah, that was tragic. And
he ate our bread, and Danielle blamed me.
Oh, something unexpected. Getting into my bread era. I guess that was kind of before we moved, but sourdough girl. Now I'm regular bread girl. I'm in my bread era. Did not expect that. And I'm still learning. And my last round actually was kind of bad, but it still tastes good. It just doesn't look right. So still working on that. Also unexpected in my reading era. And
that's the most shocking.
Yeah. Loving that still. So that's going well for me. I really like Goodreads because I can update my progress and say what I'm reading. I think it's fun to see what other people are reading. And I don't know. It's like a reward to say like finished.
Is it unexpected that I joined the gym with you?
Very unexpected. I had Nick enter the little contest giveaway, and he was like, but if I enter and I win, then I have to go. And I was like, that's the point, boy. Let's go. And he did, in fact, win because I think he was the only person who entered. So.
No.
Yeah, remember? I kept checking and I was
No, there was others at the end.
okay. Well, for a while, he was the only person. And so I was like, look. And he won. And then he was addicted. Now you love it.
I never have won like anything in my life.
Now you can't say that.
That's true. And I do love it. It's so fun. Talk about community. We talk about community all the time on Tales Up Pup. The Burn Boot Camp community is amazing.
Amazing. We've met some of our good friends now, and we're meeting more people, getting more involved, and they have lots of events, which is fun. And they do stuff for Callan, so he got to meet Santa and do all those fun things.
And I think Burn in general does a good job, like maybe like corporately, but like the owners of our Burn Boot Camp and like just like the staff, everything, they do such a good job. They're like literally like the model, I would say, of community building.
Oh yeah, 10 out of 10. And if you are local, come because it's amazing. And they're about to run the best deal they've ever ran in January. So
Are they really?
I got the inside scoop.
There's
Yeah.
going to be a bunch of new members.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Because I was asking, because I was like, are y'all expecting a rush? Because in January, everyone has their goals. And they're like, yeah, plus we're running our best deal ever. So that's just going to add to it.
So talking about goals, do you have any, like, we're getting to the goal. That'll be my second question. But do you, before like finishing 2024 kind of, do you have any like major takeaways, learning experiences, like some wisdom to share? Because I feel like at the end of like the review, you need to like, what do we take away? What are our takeaways?
When they say that you'll never be the same, it's true when you have a baby. I feel like mentally, physically, all the things, I don't think I will ever be the same.
I keep telling you though, you're only 4 months out. Like you need to give yourself, at least a year to recover before you're
no matter what, I will always have a scar now.
That is true.
So,
I'm definitely not trying to downplay it. I'm just, a lot of times like, why am I not back to where I was? It's like, it takes a long time to recover.
Today was actually core day at the gym, and 4 months after giving birth, I still have no core. They literally sliced me though. So I guess what was I expecting? But even if they didn't, I feel like no one has a core after birth, and it is still very hard.
Yes.
Yeah. I think, just physically, I'm still 20 pounds heavier than I was, and that's okay because I grew a baby. But, sometimes I get down on myself. I'm just trying to work on, it's not about the number for me. It's about just, liking how I look, and specifically like none of my clothes fit right. So that sucks.
But you got to get new clothes.
A little bit. I still need a little bit more, but we're working on it. And then mentally, I feel like I have so much love for someone else now. And it just, I feel like you'll never be the same because now you love your own child. And all the hormones are basically rushed out of me. I feel like I sweated them all out. But it was crazy for a while that, you have all these hormones and you feel crazy and you're emotional and all that stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely unusual for you. Your ups and downs with your emotions.
Yeah.
What about business-wise? Any takeaways from the business?
I think 2024 was a year that was truly the first big impact of the pandemic, and that's just my opinion, but we saw a lot of long-lasting effects, and a lot of people's businesses were down revenue-wise, and I don't really have an explanation for it other than people having to hold on to their money longer, and their groceries were more expensive. So people had to put their money in other places and weren't getting to spend for fun as much this year. So it definitely affected our business, but we are hoping for a better 2025. And
yeah, I feel like 2024 was like the first year that we didn't have like an increase in revenue. Mm-hmm. Like, pretty much ever since we started, every year we went up. And some years we went up like significantly. And so like this year more than ever, like we had to pivot in different ways. I feel like when you're continuing to climb up in revenue, you're like really looking at growth. And this year, which also happened to really be a good thing that it coincided with us like moving and downsizing like out of our office and things like that because of Callan. It really did help that we were doing that in a time where, revenue was constricting. So that I think was another, God lined those things up for us.
Yeah. And it's like such a hard thing to feel because, sometimes you're like, oh, is it what I'm doing? But then you think back and you're like, no, these things were changing long before we changed anything. And overall, like we're really enjoying having less work and being able to spend time on family. Nick's grandma actually just mentioned like, Callan's so lucky that you're both so present and able to be there and like, grow up with him. And we do think he's so lucky and we're so blessed that we're able to do that. And we are able to do that because we decided to take a step back on our business and not want to grow it to the extremes because this is what's most important to us now. And it's just finding a balance, which is really hard. And I think in 2025, we'll hopefully find a better balance and, work and life and having a baby.
You have any other learning experiences that you wanted to share?
Well, it's just like really crazy when you think about the timeline because we ideally would like our kids 2 years apart, which means that we would actually probably get pregnant at the end of 2025, which is wild.
That's crazy to think about.
But that's just like right now where our brains are, and we definitely could change our mind and time frame. So who knows what will actually happen, but based on like our ideal life right now, that is wild to think about. I could not imagine being pregnant this time next year.
Okay, 2024 is basically over. What are the goals for 2025? We're looking to the future now.
I haven't sat down and made any goals yet because my goal is to stay alive and keep my baby alive.
Well, those are good goals. I wanted to kind of I know we do kind of in that first few weeks of January, we always sit down and like come up with like personal goals, business goals, just all the goals. But we haven't officially done that, but I kind of wanted to get your like first reaction live on the podcast, what you're thinking.
Well, Callan's about to start eating real food. So I think a goal is learning how to cook some for him. I would love to be able to cook his own food. So that's definitely in the near future is all of that. I think another personal goal is just like, getting my strength back, specifically in the gym, but, in all aspects. And, I was saying my reading goal.
Ooh, yeah. You need to come up with a better one, though.
Yeah, I said 5 books. Nick thinks it needs to be more. But for me, I'm a realist. And I know that I might not stay hooked to it or I might not have time for it. And there's so many things I want to do. Like if I want to cook Callan's food, if I want to bake bread, I need to do my work. Like I want to work out. How much time do I have for reading? So I don't want to set a goal that I wouldn't achieve. So I feel like between 5 and 10 books maybe, and I would be great to surpass it, but we just don't know how long it's going to stick.
Yeah, I feel like, you've already almost read 5 books in like the last like month and a half. So that's why I was like, I feel like you could do at least 10 or 12.
But I spend all my time when Callan goes to bed reading now until I go to bed. And I don't know if I would have to use that time to do other things. But in the new year, the business is typically slower, so then I won't feel like I have to go do work at night or anything, and that can be a good thing.
Any business goals?
I think my business goal would be to have revenue go up from this year, but have a good balance. Personally, I would like to grow Simply Sweet Pea and do more of the children's embroidery. I'm finding joy in that. And then for Tails Up Pup, I also would like to, improve our options. I feel like this year I really slacked on having new embroidered ideas because it takes time and I just didn't have time to do it with everything going on. So I would like to come up with some new embroidered items, maybe new styles, but specifically like designs on items. Like we've been running with the Varsity Dog Mom for so long and I would not take it away. I know people love it. I love it, but I would like to add more options too. Maybe some new Quarter Crew colors. I feel like For Valentine's Day, we already know we did not add any new exclusive patterns. And I feel like for like St. Patrick's Day and stuff, it just really isn't worth it for how expensive it is to do custom patterns for a holiday that's so little. So I would love to do some exclusive patterns for every day. We haven't done some new ones in quite some time. So if you have any requests, let me know because my brain is literally empty. But I definitely would like to sit down and try to brainstorm some new ideas for that.
We'll definitely have to sit back down and talk about like after we, think about them together and talk about like some more concrete goals. But I think those are all good.
And recently you brought up like wanting to create more personal content. And so I'm just starting to dabble in that. I mean, realistically, I don't have the time of the day to create more and more videos. So it's finding a balance again. And so that's what's going to take time and figuring out like what videos am I going to film when. And I was telling you, like, if I'm going to bake bread and film a video about it, it's just going to take nearly twice as long to get the process done than it would be if I was just to bake bread. And so, in the beginning of Callum being born, I was spending all the time with him because he needed me. I was feeding him and he ate like every second of every day. But now as he's growing up, he's able to do more things and he doesn't need to eat every second. You have been stepping in and helping with him more. And I think by finding a new balance, then we'll just, figure that schedule out even more and create more personal content because I know just based on the little bread stuff I posted, a lot of people are interested in it, but don't know anything about it. So while it's new to me, I would love to provide any knowledge that I'm finding along the way with everyone as well. And I think it's fun to do things other than just, behind the scenes and business content as well. Other things that bring me joy. And that's what's cool about creating a community of people with like minds like mine is that they have a lot of interests that are the same. So they also want to see how we're like what I'm baking or like what I'm doing or even like what we're doing to raise Callan.
Yeah, no, that's the thing that is cool is like you do find a lot of joy in sharing like your hobbies and things that you're interested in. And like that, it doesn't have to, like you said, just be behind the scenes like about Tails Up Hub. One other question that I did want to ask about 2024, sorry, going back a little bit. Did you accomplish your goals that you had set in 2024?
What were they?
Well, the one that I was thinking specifically was like our revenue goals, business growth, things like that. And
I think no.
Yeah, the answer is definitely no. So we definitely did not accomplish our 2024 goals that we had set.
But again, obviously what we choose to spend time on does affect things. I will take some responsibility, but I do think the world has a lot of responsibility for that.
Well, the thing that I want to actually do a whole podcast on this, but I think that it's okay that we failed on our goals. It's not that we failed because we didn't try. Mm-hmm. I think we tried pretty much as hard as we could, with having a baby, moving, doing all of those things, all the, punches that we had to roll with like in life. And again, like you said, the world kind of has its own plans and you can't control all of that. And so, that does have an effect on your goals. And we learned a lot while trying to still go after them. And we didn't, just shy away because, we failed. Okay. Last question. What are you most excited for 2025?
I feel like I don't know. Like we don't really have anything planned yet, but I feel like it would be fun to, just experience life with Callan and show him like he's really getting interested in things. So like taking him places and getting him excited for, like maybe he would really like the zoo now because he can see animals or the aquarium, like really showing him the world and teaching him to walk and crawl and like all those things. I think it's going to be so fun and it's rewarding when he finds joy. Like right now he's like learning to reach and grab for things, and then he learns that if he reaches and he grabs something, then he has a toy in his hand, and just seeing that joy in his face even in this moment is so cool. So I feel like it's only going to get better and better as he gets bigger and stronger.
I will be a copycat. That is my exact same answer. I'm so excited to see how he grows up over the next year.
All right. Well, I'm sure we forgot many things. It's hard to remember all the things that happen in 365 days.
Did you like that? Was that fun?
Yeah, it was fun. I liked you asking questions. It really provoked me to think about what we did in 2024. And if you are listening, it is very nice. So maybe get a journal, write down some things you accomplished, and then write some goals for the next year. And then remember next year to go back and, see what you accomplished. Did you achieve those goals or not? We will see you guys in 2025.
Here's the 2025. Bye.